eventually see whether they're awake or not. If they don't become conscious, you check for breathing. You can't see their chest moving. In a lot of cases, the chest isn't going to be moving a whole lot. You got blousy clothes on. They've, obviously been taken out of commission or unconscious. The average person is sleeping. Their breathing is pretty shallow. You may have to put your hands up front to catch a breath on them. Another aspect of this is they may not have a face or a good portion of a face left to check a breath from. You gotta realize this isn't going to be a household accident or, I mean, even car accidents. In a lot of cases, you can have a face that's pretty well mangled and real difficult to make out features on. So you're going to have to really succinctly look for breathing, and if that means pulling back and checking for their belly moving, or actually, putting your hand down here to dig. I mean, literally look for some gurgling, look for some foaming blood. It's important. The very first thing, like I said, is breathing. If you establish he's not breathing, you're going to have to implement artificial respiration, like right now. You're going to have to make a decision if you're going to give aid, whether or not you're going to be worried about that kind of thing. Well, that's it. You got to make that decision.
Start the breathing.
Start the breathing. First thing, before broken bones, before bleeding, you got a femoral artery here that's spraying blood on you and down you. If his breathing's not going, plugging that up is pretty damn irrelevant. Because the first thing that's going to get you is stopping your breathing. The brain's got to have oxygen, it's got to have glucose. The blood's bringing the glucose up to it in the oxygen. If the lungs ain't securing the oxygen, pulling the waste away from it, your respiratory centers are going to die out. And they're some of the most basic things that keep you functional, heart and breathing. And anoxia, which is a lack of oxygen, is going to stop him. If he stops breathing just because he's been hit or shocked, you can bring him back pretty easily. You guys know any of the basic outline of artificial respiration, people?
Yeah, chin up, clear the mouth.
You got to be able to get the head back. Got to be able to tilt the head back. This is going to open your airway. Your airway, if you look on a person from you guys on this side, comes down to the back of your pharynx, and then down to your
esophagus.
Trachea. Your breathing is going to be, if it's bent like this, it's going to be just like closing over the neck off of, a garden hose. You're going to choke the thing off. And even though you might get some air through there, you trying to push air into their lungs without their assistance is going to be damn difficult. So you need to open the airway up as much as possible. That's accomplished by cupping your hand underneath the head and rolling it back like this. That's going to open the airway up and make it easier for you to be able to push the air into the lungs to give them the volume they need. Next thing you got to do is you got to clear their mouth and stuff. A lot of people that have been hit are going to throw up, and it's going to be a grungy thing to be dealing with. They may have had partials or things blown out of their mouth. They may have loose teeth in their mouth. They may have bits of whatever they hit them in their mouth. And trying to blow past that, you may actually blow it further down in them and actually close the breathing tube. So you got to open your mouth up. Their tongue is going to tend to drop back in their mouth when you open it by dropping their chin like that. So a lot of times you need to put your hands, your thumb, right underneath here, like this. Reach back behind their jawline and pull forward. And this is going to open them up so that by doing that, it stretches your tongue out, because your tongue is fixed in the back of your throat. And doing that stretches the tongue out, brings it up, makes the tongue smaller, so you can actually get in there. You can have to stick your fingers in there and look. You don't always see all the way to the back of their throat. It's real difficult to do. If you've established that he's unconscious and it doesn't appear that he has a neck injury, you're going to try to do this. If it appears that he's had some head injury, there's obvious signs of damage to his neck or head, you're probably going to think, or just if you saw the accident, well, the guy just fell off that ridge and landed on his back, there's a pretty good possibility he's got a neck injury. You're going to have to kind of weigh it on the spot of whether or not it warrants trying to isolate his neck at all before trying to do a respiration on him.
You've only got 2 minutes.
About 2 minutes is exactly the point. And on a day like today, when it's hot out, you've been busting ass, or someone's been shooting at you, and you're pretty heated, you got far less time. You're not going to get much with these people. So, anyway, get your hands under the back, tilt the head back, open the mouth, swab out the mouth and clear it. And it ain't relevant whether your hands are clean. It really ain't relevant whether their mouth is clean. I mean, food's food, you know? And put your mouth over the mouth, close the nose, and blow in. In this position, you blow in, and then look to see his belly going up. It's really common, because your mouth goes back down to your esophagus and your bronchial tubes. It's really common to blow air into their stomach. They're going to go and burp a lot of crap right back up at you. You need to make sure you're lifting their chest. You can blow and blow and blow, and if their stomach's going, you're just going to make a big air balloon out of them, and it's going to be pretty distasteful in a hurry. Again, the importance of keeping the head tilted back is going to tend to open that airway up and keep you from getting it into the stomach. You're going to need to blow into the mouth, the nose closed. You can run into some problems. As militia people, there's liable to be civilian casualties or your own kids in many cases. Little kids, like my little one that's running around here, you're going to have to put on, you may have to put your mouth over their nose and mouth in order to get a good seal on them. And you're going to have to judge that based on the size of the person you're with. The other aspect of this is these compresses, like you got in here, basically they're just small dressings, like we mentioned earlier. Everyone needs to keep them up here, down in the side next to you, or a hat, or whatever. If you don't have something, the point is to stuff it into the wound. Yeah?
I run a one-man med right on my back.
So. Pull these open. Two sides to the ones that we've got. Put them down. Okay? Wrap the thing around. Again, this is all split down the ends here. Wrap it around both ways and tie it down. But remember, the whole rest of this leg might be really nice and salvageable. Okay? Having this wound down, covered, having this wrapped real nicely, may buy enough time to stabilize him and get him evacuated to someone can do more significant work on him. Created a long-term handicap that's not going to be able to be terribly field worthy. At the same time, you slap this thing on here, you push it on the thing, you wrap it up, and blood's pouring out of the thing still. As far as being able to test it for tension on it, you need to be able to get 2 fingers underneath the thing. If it's tighter than that, so you can't slip them down, not 2 fingers this way like the tequila advertisement, but this way. If you can't get 2 fingers underneath there, you got it on too tight. If the limb is completely annihilated, then you're going to have to make a call about, okay, here's where the bleeding is right now, let's plug this. But if the limb is just completely shredded, likelihood of him bleeding to death, regardless of that, you're going to have to weigh the balance of, do we tourniquet it or not? And tourniquets go on and come off at intervals. You don't just leave them on. But beyond that here, say the guy's bleeding now, you put this on here, you see it squirting out. Okay? There's a couple things you can do beyond just tie the wound on people. The fold of your leg here goes down to the pubic bone, bends in here to the side. You can put your hand in them. Okay? You can push that down there, and one of the arteries runs real close to the surface, femoral artery down here. Yeah. You push down on this, makes your legs start to get cold and numb. You're also going to be pushing down on some larger nerves that are going through there. It's going to be glad you did it. Same thing on this side. It might be easier to approach them from the other side, but you bring in here and you push it down. You'll be able to, in many cases, be able to feel their pulse up against you. This will restrict the greatest percentage of blood flow to the leg without actually tourniqueting it. And a lot of times, just the stasis of getting a pad onto it and getting the blood flow reduced significantly that way reduces the pressure long enough that fibrin can start filling in and making a clot in there. As soon as you tear open a vessel, fibrin starts laying down, starts becoming a clot and creates a net. And the more platelets and red cells that stack up in that net, the sooner it is it's going to get plugged and stop you from bleeding. If it's pouring through there with hellish force, you're going to continue to bleed. But if you slow the force down, things are going to start to clot up like that, and you're going to be able to contain it and sometimes stabilize them long enough they're going to be able to keep the bleed so they can radiate heat off, just like a radiator on a car would. You notice when you're cold, you never see people with real red faces. They tend to constrict down until they get in the warmer environment, then they open up. Caffeinated beverages are not real good things for you in the extreme heat or the extreme cold. In extreme cold, when it's already cold, you're not able to circulate blood down there to appendages, because you constricted blood vessels down so badly that, you know, your heart's pushing it as it is, but you've artificially constricted them, which doesn't lend to being able to, it works like a hot water heating system. It doesn't get the heat down there to keep the appendages warm. This is kind of, I don't know, kind of the limitations of the basics of first aid.